usacheme inindiripo nokutora mumawoko angu usachemewe chinyarara mwana wangu usacheme inindiripo nokutora mumawoko angu usachemewe chengeto wangu amai vanokuda ndipo paugere chinyarara mwana wangu usachemewe chiedza wangu uringirozi rekudenga chinyarara mwana wangu usachemewe chinyarara mwana wangu usacheme inindiripo nokutora mumawoko angu usachemewe chinyarara mwana wangu usacheme nokutora mumawoko angu usachemewe usachemewe
feel like you're being watched? You are.
So greetings once again, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you can all hear me loud and clear. If you can hear me well, if you could kindly use your annotate function to give me a thumbs up, I'll be grateful. If I could get a couple of thumbs up to indicate that you can hear me loud and clear, wherever you are. Great, thanks, Julie. Great. So thank you so much for making time to join us. And with this lovely piece by Chiwoniso, I would like to welcome you all to this evening's event. Greetings to you wherever you are joining us from across the world. Today we are here to have a very interesting conversation, something that is dear to everyone. And I'd like to begin with this quote from Mahatma Gandhi, which says that health is the true wealth and not silver or gold. May sound controversial, but I believe that as we have today's conversations and dig deep into the issues, we probably will end up agreeing with this great man. Today we are here to have a conversation and help launch a book that is designed and written to address one of the major issues in our healthcare delivery system. A developing country's health system challenges, addressing Ghana's no-bed syndrome. Of course, health is our wealth, and if we don't have a very robust functioning health infrastructure and delivery system, then that health can never be delivered. My name once again is Fred Frimpong, and I'm delighted to be your host for this evening. First off, on the bill, I would like to introduce the chairman for this evening's event, who has also graciously accepted to do the formal launch of the book on our behalf. And with the chairman's permission, I would also continue to introduce some panelists who have also graciously accepted to join, have a discussion about snippets of the book and what it is about. So for this evening, we are honored to have Dr. Barnabas Yeboah chair this event for us. Dr. Yeboah is currently the Director of Nursing and Midwifery at the Ministry of Health in Accra. He is a nurse by profession, a public health expert, leadership and management consultant, and as well as a quality improvement coach. Dr. Yeboah is very well known in the health sector, and he's been in the space for so many years. He holds a PhD in public health from the University of Central Nicaragua, a master's in public health from KNUST, another master's in business administration from the Delta International University of New Orleans in the United States of America, and a BSc from the Presbyterian University of Ghana. He also holds several certificates in so many qualifications from so many other institutions. Dr. Yeboah has under his belt 21 years of experience working in the health sector in Ghana, across public and private institutions in the areas of public health, clinical practice, healthcare administration, continuous quality improvement, and patient safety, among others. He's also taught in a number of nursing and midwifery training colleges across the country. He's currently a part-time lecturer at the Catholic and Methodist universities and has also served as a diocesan health service director of the Catholic Diocese of Techiman, providing leadership for the management of several health facilities. In summary, he can be best described as a health systems expert, leadership and management consultant, primary healthcare and public health leader, experienced administrator, and health trainer. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome Dr. Yeboah. And Doc, if you can give us a wave as you come on camera. We are happy to have you. We are very, very grateful to have you. With your kind permission, I would like to introduce the other panelists who will be joining us later to discuss snippets of the book. And then I'll come back to you, Doc, for your opening remarks. First on our list is Dr. Lawrence Osei-Tutu, our first panelist, a graduate who is also a medical doctor, graduated from Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology in 2007. Lawrence is a pediatrician and holds a postgraduate diploma in pediatric hematology from the University of Cape Town, which he attained in 2018. He's a sub-investigator with the Malaria Research Center in Agogo and works as a pediatrician at Komfo Teaching Hospital in Kumasi. Dr. Osei-Tutu has been involved in pediatric cancer care in Ghana and has been a strong advocate for the integration of the pediatric cancer care in Ghana's National Health Insurance Scheme. He's also written widely and reflected extensively on challenging situations in the health delivery system in Ghana. Dr. Lawrence Osei-Tutu, you are welcome. If you are on, if you could kindly switch on your camera and give us a wave, we will be grateful.
Hi, I hope you can see.
Glad to have you, Doc. Glad to have you.
Thanks.
Our next panelist is also an alumnus of Pemper College. With Norman Bertel, a Pemper College person, I can understand the connection, as well as Dr. Lawrence Osei-Tutu. Mr. Edward Simbrako graduated from the College of Technology, University College of Education, Winneba in 2004. He holds an MBA from the University of Ghana Business School. He has worked in several banks in Ghana as branch manager at First Allied Bank from 2003 to 2008. Also had experience with Sahel Sahara Bank, cluster manager at the Energy Bank in 2013, and the Royal Bank from 2014 to 2018. Mr. Simbrako is currently working with the Consolidated Bank of Ghana as the regional manager in Accra West. Same, if you are on, if you could kindly come on camera and give us a wave. We are grateful to have you this evening to support this event. Our next panelist is Dr. Adoma Odami. Dr. Adoma is a senior specialist pediatrician at Hope Exchange Medical Center, where she heads the public health department. She's a member of the West Africa College of Physicians and holds an MSc in Pediatric Emergency Medicine from Edinburgh. She's a part-time lecturer at the University of Cape Coast School of Medical Sciences and an adjunct lecturer at the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology. She's also the CEO at Inshira Pediatrics. She's a master trainer in helping babies breathe, in essential care for every baby, and kangaroo mother care, something that I'm very familiar with because of preterm kids. She's an author of Letters to My Girls and a columnist in the Weekend Mirror. She's the regional chair of the Ashanti Medical Women Association of Ghana, married and loves working with children and teens. Dr. Adoma, if you're on, if you could kindly come on camera and give us a wave, we would truly appreciate that, and would love having you this evening with us on this event as well. So ladies and gentlemen, after running through these, I would like to turn it back to our chairman for the occasion, Dr. Yeboah, for his opening remarks. Dr. Yeboah, over to you, please.
All right, thank you, Fred. Thank you very much, colleagues, and good evening to everyone. Today is a very important day for us all, especially one of our colleagues, our friend, our colleague who has over the years worked and has come out with a book, and today we are about to launch it. For me, it's an exciting day for all of us. Dr. Norma is somebody I knew right from the time he started working at the Holy Family Hospital in Techimai. I worked with him, and I had a feel of him when it comes to issues that affect the health system, especially within the diocese where we work together. Yes, I must say that I am glad to accept to chair today's important function. And let me say that no bed syndrome is not a new phenomenon. I mean, it's been there. Unfortunately, we have not been able to address the situation. So I see Dr. Norman's book as a good one to prefer some solutions to what we need to be doing as a country. I remember when I used to work in the clinical area, when we refer cases, I used to take cases to Konfanochi and then Kolebu. You get there and they will tell you there's no bed and you'll be hanging on the ambulance waiting to get a bed. Sometimes you have to put a patient on a chair, sometimes benches, until they get a place to fix the person. So it's really a challenge. And as experts in the health sector, we all have the duty to see how we can address it. So I want to welcome all of you for this evening's event and to say let's all participate and then see how we can bring this book to bear on the healthcare solutions for our country. Let me especially acknowledge my good friends on the call, Dr. Aduma, and then Dr. Maxwell. Yes, I've also worked with them, and so Dr. Maxwell is my classmate at the master's level. Dr. Aduma, I work with her at the Holy Family Hospital, Nkoko. She's a very good lady, and let me acknowledge their presence. So once again, thank you and accept to chair this program. Thank you. Over.
Thank you so much, Dr. Yeboah, for accepting to steer affairs today. So with your kind permission, Doc, I will continue with the rest of the activities on our event calendar and then come back to you for the formal launch and your closing remarks later on. Ladies and gentlemen, so to the gentleman for whom we are gathered and for which reason we are here today. Norman, I guess a lot of people who have known him, especially those of us who know him from the secondary school days, we are not too surprised that he has come up with this book. Norman has always been an avid lover of books and an avid reader. So when he reached out to me to say he's put up this book together, I wasn't too surprised. Very passionate about the healthcare delivery system in Ghana. And I'm hopeful that what he has in this book will, as Dr. Yeboah said, help offer some solutions to this age-old syndrome. So Dr. Norman Dattel, the author, is a specialist geriatrician. Now I had to take my time with that. Currently working at the Harrogate District Hospital in the United Kingdom's National Health Service. He has worked as a consultant for so many years. He holds a Bachelor of Science in Human Biology from our own KNUST. He graduated as a medical doctor in 2007 from the same university. Passed his membership exam in internal medicine at West Africa College of Physicians in 2013, and subsequently as a fellow in 2017 in general internal medicine. Norman holds an international fellowship in geriatrics medicine from the Royal College of Physicians, London, and a professional diploma in UK medical practice from Liverpool School of Tropical Medicine, also in the UK. He holds an advanced certificate in clinical education from the Royal College of Physicians and Surgeons of Glasgow, as well as a specialty certificate in geriatrics from Joint Royal Colleges of the United Kingdom and the British Geriatric Society. He has publications on his experience working in the NHS, as well as publications on the elderly in Ghana. He has worked in both the private and public health sectors in Ghana and has previously run his own health facilities as well. He's passionate about improvement in healthcare provision, and I guess that it's been part of that he's put up this book to help address this challenge of no-birth syndrome. So ladies and gentlemen, I give you the author, Dr. Dartel Norman. Now, Norman, over to you. We want to understand what drove you to write this book and what we should expect from it. Over to you.
Thank you, Fred. Good evening to everyone. I'm really humbled by your presence, and I appreciate that you've taken time off to join us in this book launch. I'm most grateful to you, Director Dr. Barnabas Yeboah, for accepting to chair this meeting, and all the other panelists as well. Dr. Adoma, Dr. Seitutu, Mr. Sembrako. He's trying to join us. He's on his honeymoon, so he's enjoying, but will soon join us. I'm really grateful to all of you, and to Fred and Samuel in the background. I can see colleagues from Ghana who are joining us, friends, and also colleagues here in the United Kingdom who are also online. Thank you very much. I appreciate your time to join us. This book has come about because of my own personal experiences and also other things I've observed. And I think when we go into the details, I'll definitely talk about some of them. The book is dedicated to my parents, Mr. Stanley Norman, who has unfortunately passed on, and my mom, Mrs. Amakuma Norman, and also to my wife, Jackie, and our children, Richie, Stanley, and I dedicate this book to all of you for all your support throughout the years. And I also want to acknowledge Dr. Kojo Amoka Jr. For his help with the book. Thank you.
Great, Norman. So you can continue from your end with the clip, and then we'll move on to the book itself as well.
So what we're going to do is we're going to show a 14-minute clip of a discussion on the no-birth syndrome. So I'll just share straight away. I think it kind of sets the tone for the book and what will be discussed later on. Please, let's watch.
Point of View is brought to you in association with Stanbic Bank, moving forward, and Glofert Company Limited, growing growth.
This is The Point of View. Welcome. And tonight we have a great show for you. My name is Bernard Avila. It's an interactive program on City TV, and we come to you with a lot of exciting conversations. We bring the right guests, we ask them relevant questions, and you always go home with some useful insights. Our hashtag is The Point of View, and of course, we're on Facebook at City TV GH. So today we're taking you back to a year and a week ago. On the 3rd of June 2018, from around 9 p.m. from Awoshi, a family tried to save the life of their 70-year-old father, Anthony Opokwe Champong. They drove him in a Mercedes-Benz from the family house in Awoshi to the C&J hospital. After pleading with nurses, they did not get a chance to treat their father. He was later moved to the Accra Regional Hospital, known as Ridge Hospital. They went to the police hospital, the Kolebu Hospital, the Kolebu Polyclinic. They ended up at the Lekma Hospital, having gone through the Snit Hospital. None of the 7 hospitals was able to administer treatment for this man. Well, he died at the Lekma Hospital. It led to a national outcry. Tonight, it's a year since that man's demise. We revisit that very controversial issue and ask, has the no-birth syndrome ceased? We have a very exciting way of approaching this topic. When we come back, I'll tell you how. Stay with us. So we have an extended show for you today. It's 1.5 hours on TV and also on Facebook. So you can stay with us till very late in the program. I have the Deputy Minister for Health in studio. He is also a member of Parliament. He's called Alexander Kor Aban. He will try and address some of the policy questions around managing public health care in the country, specifically the issue of emergency services. I also have the long-time president of the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association, Dr. Asante Krobia, an old friend of ours. Doc, great to have you.
Thank you. Right.
And of course, Honorable, good to see you.
Good to see you. It's been a long time.
It's been a long time.
Until recently when I met you in a program. I had not set eyes on you ever since I left Legon.
I was doing Galamsey and you caught me. But that's for a different day. We also have a 40-minute interview I recorded a few hours before this show with the Director General of the Ghana Health Service. I'll play a few minutes of that interview now. And later on, I'll play that interview before the show. And so we have a lot happening on the program. Now, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to start with a quick report that Caleb Kuda put together, reminding us of June 3, 2018, and the over 2 hours tortuous journey of Mr. Opoku Champong.
My dad, who wasn't, bedstricken by any ill health, had to just die like that because the doctors and the nurses who were on duties at the various hospitals we took him to all actually didn't do what could have saved my father, but rather they helped him to die.
Ishmael Obri, son of a 70-year-old, recounted to me what was a painful journey to save their father's life, only to be turned away by 7 major hospitals in a car.
My dad, who wasn't, bedstricken by any ill health, had to just die like that because the doctors and the nurses who were on duties at the various hospitals we took him to all actually didn't do what could have saved my father, but rather they helped him to die.
Not only did the fuel in their car run out, the breath of Esther Opoku Champong's husband ran out too. Ironically, this was in his own car at the hospital. This was after an hour and 48 minutes of a journey across 49.35 kilometers.
If, anything could get worse, at least first aid could have saved him. Only for us to go to the hospital, starting from C&J Medicare Hospital, for the nurse on duty and a doctor to tell us that there's nothing they can do. I don't know if it was with the age I mentioned, because my dad is 70 years. And so when I was asked of his age and I said he was 70 years, and then the next answer was, there's nothing we can do, so take him to Kolebu Teaching Hospital. At this moment, it becomes more than sad because that was where our hopes were, because this is a hospital we've been from my infancy. That is where I've received all my treatment, all my other siblings, both home and abroad, my mom, the entire family. And the worst of it is that, this is a place where my dad actually supplies stationery, since my dad is actually into publishing, So from C&J Medicare Hospital, we were asked to take him to Kolebu CME. When we got there, we were told there's no bed for my dad to be admitted on and treated. And so we should take him to Kolebu Polyclinic. We go to Kolebu Polyclinic and we're told there's no bed. Not even first aid. I mean, all the names of the hospitals I'm mentioning, not even a single person came to administer even the paracetamol. So we had to take him from the Kolebu Polyclinic to Ridge Hospital. When we got to Ridge Hospital, we were told there's no bed. And so we should take him to police hospital. We got to the police hospital, there was no bed. So we should take him to the Trust Hospital. We got to the Trust Hospital, there was no bed. So we should take him to La Polyclinic. That was when somebody suggested we should take him to rather Lekman Hospital, because they probably would have all the facilities, because they are a bigger hospital and is new, much new compared to the ones that we went to and so on. So with all hopes, we drove there only to be told there's no bed. And even the Lekman Hospital was even worse, because upon several pleading after our car had run out of fuel, not even the nurse or the doctor on duty agreed to even bring a stretcher out for my dad to be put on to be treated.
Madame Esther believes if any of the doctors had offered some assistance, her husband would not have died.
Now we are on my papa. We are doctor papa. Doctor, I don't share any pama when you are any papa when you have thrown a book to you. Mammy Penny want to send me a book to you when him was mammy sorry. And Penny went to meet me yesterday. And Penny went to meet me yesterday. Meet you when I'm a young, me young. The only America, the only American. I said I something I'm so. I said I something I'm so. Well, but me a baby.
She appealed to health authorities to work to put a stop to the phenomenon.
Doctor for woman or many penny. So by me and go home with some corner. I'll catch them and say, I'm a me yare, I'm Mr. Mamma found court now home told. Doctor for what dear. Teach you grant medical. I want you go first. Papa, you are young people's mamma. Mokadi on one air. Me my one in our and tough we don't want to. You more Bremoni, I don't start with course of medical hospital. Doctor, no idea, Papa. Catch as a doctor knew her. Doctor, no what you find a cocoon. To on the culture, my first aid now. I can papa and go ye day. Oh, we are doctor, catch as a doctor you now, so we are doctor.
Director General of the Ghana Health Service, Dr. Anthony Insia Asare, at the time promised that his outfit will work to make the incident the last.
I'm so sad. I'm very much disturbed about the situation. I think it shouldn't have happened. We are going to use it to solve a bigger problem.
A year on, family sources tell City News it is yet to receive the full details of a report investigating the matter. However, City News has cited excerpts of the report which reveal that some of the facilities had beds at the time Mr. Opoku Echampong was turned away. A year on, has the issue of no-bed syndrome in hospitals been permanently solved? You be the judge.
So that was Kalekule's report, and indeed, we have excerpts of that report. For example, in the executive summary, in relation to the CNJ hospital, it says there were empty hospital beds at the time of the incident in the facilities, although the emergency units were full, an indication of inefficient bed management. In the Greater Accra Regional Hospital and Lekma, the emergency units were full, but there were beds available in other wards. In cases of C and J, all their hospital beds were empty, including those at the emergency unit. I want to show you the route of the victim because it tells a story. He went to 7 hospitals in a space of about 3 hours. Look at that. He left Awoshi and he drove 16 kilometers to CNJ Hospital, where we are told there were 20 empty beds. There was a doctor on duty, yet they said there was no bed for reasons best known to them. He drove another 16 minutes, or the family, the son Ishmael, drove him in an old Mercedes-Benz to Kolebu Hospital. Similar story. They moved to Kolebu Polyclinic, which was just a minute away. No help. Then they went to the Greater Accra Regional Hospital, which is Ridge Hospital. They didn't even allow them to enter. They were told there was no bed. That was another 6.5 kilometers. Now, they then drove to the police hospital, a 7-minute drive, still no bed. They went to the Trust Hospital in Osu, still no bed. Now, when they got to Lekma, and I'm going to read an excerpt from the report. When they got to the entrance of the hospital, the security man directed them to the emergency unit. Their fuel got finished upon reaching the entrance of the emergency unit. Ishmael's cousin, Kobe, was following them in a taxi. When he entered the emergency unit, there was no nurse at the waiting area of the unit. They, that's Ishmael, the son, and Kobe, who was following in a taxi, asked one of the patients if they could talk to any nurse. They directed us to knock on the first door on the left. He knocked on the door and the lady came out and told her they had brought in an emergency case. She said there was no bed. They pleaded for help for his father. In response, the lady said there was nothing she could do and then closed the door. His cousin, Kobe, was angry, so he banged on the door again. And when she came out, she indicated that she had already told them there was no bed. And she entered and closed the door a second time. They saw a gentleman, described by the report as staff, passing, and they followed him. And then he, Ishmael, the son, called him and informed him they had brought an emergency case. The gentleman said there was nothing he could do and directed them to see the nurse at the emergency unit. He came back to the emergency unit where the patients were, and one of the patients said one doctor in coat was lying in a car in the compound. He went outside and saw the doctor in coat lying in a car park straight ahead of the exit of the emergency unit. He knocked at the front glass and asked if he was the doctor, which he responded in the affirmative. He then informed him that his father was in critical condition. The doctor, quote unquote, came out of his car, moved to their car, peeped inside and said, "Your father is in a critical condition, but there is nothing I can do since there is no bed." All right. Before I talk to my two guests here, I interviewed
Hello, Fred. That's the end.
Yes, Norman, please carry on.
Yeah, so that's the end of the video we're going to show. So it kind of captures what happened. And I think it allows me or sets the platform for me to now tell you about why I wrote this book. In just a second. So there were several reasons why I wrote this book. Amongst the reasons is this clip that we just watched about the sad demise of Christopher Champo. But those of us in Ghana, we are also privy to certain information about how former Vice President, condolences to the family, Mr. Emisa Atta died, where there was a situation of he collapsed at his gym and eventually ended up in hospital, and there were several commentaries. It sounded like he arrived in hospital in a private car and not in an ambulance. He unfortunately passed on. Even our former president, Professor Evans Atamils, who died whilst he was actually president. We all know the stories, and actually Parliament has or is debating whether to look into the circumstances surrounding his death. Either way, we know that there were concerns about how he was managed when he was sick. And in the book, I talk about my own personal experiences trying to get a bed, an emergency bed for a family member who was critically ill, and how challenging that was, requiring calls to different people and taking days to get that. So all of these were things that I've reflected on, and I came to one simple conclusion. No one in Ghana was immune to the no-bed syndrome, nor to the other challenges that the health system faces. So it kind of dawned on me that what can we do about it? And I started writing and reflecting on this. I think if you watch the video, it raises a lot of systemic and structural issues. And I do agree with what our chairman said earlier, which is that this is a long-standing issue that we've unfortunately not found the answers to yet. But I'm convinced that there are no quick fixes. It requires systemic and structural changes. So if you look at the narrative, one of the first things that occurred to me was that this man was sent to hospital in his own private car. This was a man who was dying or extremely sick. So obviously I was asking myself, was there an ambulance Was there no access to ambulance? What was the emergency response systems? And he obviously went to several hospitals and they all said there were no beds, 7 major hospitals. And to look at the systemic issue, he went to a private hospital, he went to a district hospital, he went to a quasi-government hospital, he went to even a tertiary hospital. And unfortunately, he could not find a bed in any of these hospitals. So it brings into focus issues of infrastructure. The fact that he was sick, extremely unwell, probably critically ill, it also brings into focus our critical care capabilities and our resuscitation capabilities of somebody who's dying. And of course, the know-how. Because in one of the hospitals, the private hospital, they actually had 20 free beds in the emergency. So why did they not even see this man? Was it because they do not have the human resource or the capabilities to manage a case of that nature? During my research, I realized that critical care capability in Ghana is very poor, and most hospitals do not have critical care capability at all. It also raises issues of bed management. One hospital had 20 beds in the emergency, but did not see this man. In some of the district and teaching hospitals, in the teaching hospital, apparently there were beds on the wards, but the emergency was full. So again, it raises questions of bed management. And I'm sure the hospital themselves did not even know they had beds available. So it even, again, in respect to bed management, how do we see which beds are available in real time, when patients come to hospital? And of course, there were issues of communication. At the end of the clip, it mentions how a bystander told them when they reached one of the hospitals that there was no bed and they left. And the hospital obviously should have a system in place to admit patients because that is their duty. So communication was an issue. The fact that the wife was begging the clinicians to see her husband also raises questions about patient rights and patient empowerment and duties. And of course, it's said in the report that after 1 year, the family was still waiting for the reports concerning the whole issue. So there were several critical issues that I gleaned from watching this clip and what went on. So I've tried to tackle all these issues in the book. I've talked about ambulance system, emergency systems, infrastructure, critical care capabilities, human resource, bed management, patient empowerment and rights and duties, communication skills. So this book is virtually for everyone. There is something in it for health administrators or managers, for health professionals, for policymakers, for civil society groups, and even to patients or all clients, all citizens of Ghana. So these are the reasons why I wrote this book. Thank you.